Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Do You Read BTS? I'm Lisa.
And I'm Delaze. Welcome back, guys. Or I guess I should say we're back, guys.
It's been so long.
It's been so long. We had to take a miniature, break. But we're back. We're here. Got a story to review.
Yeah.
So this week...
Well, we haven't been gone that long, guys. If you check out the TikTok, we've been present, but not present all the way on podcast. So we're sorry about that.
We did part 2 of the Sexploration series by Bigbrownbambieyes on Wattpad. So we just reviewed that story, and let's get into it.
Okay, guys, if y'all remember, at the end of Sexploration, they were like, what do they call it?
Road farming.
Road farming, which I never ever heard before. So all they was doing was sitting in the back of the truck looking at the stars in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that led to sex and all that good stuff. And in the second book, it kind of doesn't start there. It starts like different. And the part I remember the most is when they start off at the pool hall. They were on a date, and they were super close by then. They had been together for a while now. I think it was 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
They had been together by now, and they were in love, which is unheard of on both ends, because they never truly been in love before.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts off with them going on a day or whatever, and they playing pool, and they kind of get a little freaky up in the pool hall. They have a private area where they're playing pool. They doing some stuff that I would never do with that pool stick.
Right?
Corona, but anyway.
Not even that. I mean, yes, that, but ugh.
Yeah, you know how many hands been on that pool?
Yeah, people don't wash their hands anyway before Corona. Ooh.
I know. Yeah, but they was doing some stuff, and they had a pretty good time. But they had been in this room so long that now the people was beating on the door, you've had your time. Come on, who's in here? Hurry up! And they was just trying to get their rocks off.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't succeed, though. They ended up, just leaving and both being all hot and heated, end up going home and doing their thing. So, yeah. Well, the book is kind of, it's, not a lot of, details of, things that kind of happen in between. Okay, so what she does now is she's a massage therapist.
Oh, okay. We're skipping to there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to do it or you want me to do it? Anyway, she's a massage therapist, and she works all the time. So she works, what's the other job? Is it in a restaurant, a coffee shop? What's the other job at?
A bookstore.
Oh, okay. She works at the bookstore, and she works as a massage therapist. She does a lot. This must be summer break or something, because I swear they was in college.
I thought that, but as the other story was kind of going through, they stopped talking about school. So I was like, I don't think
yeah, they do
anymore.
not. Yeah, this must be summer break, or either they done, because they do not talk about school at all in this story.
Mm-mm.
So anyway, she's a massage therapist, and what she does is she has clients. She has a good clientele built up, and she'll go to wherever her client is. So her and Yugi spend a lot of time together, and he wants to be with her. But she's like, I gotta work, and then he gets upset because she gotta work and stuff. And so the client that she ends up getting is a high end client. She don't even talk to the client. She talks to somebody that works for the client. And she's like, I gotta take this job because it's a lot of money being paid for. So Yugi basically tells her, so you know nothing about this guy. You just want to go and because the money is good. And she like, yeah, why not? Like, I don't think I'm gonna be in harm's way. So then Yugi gets mad at her because he's like, you're not even thinking about the consequences of what may happen. You just want to go get this money. And she basically like, well, if I think about it like that all the time, I won't make any money. So, like, I'm pretty sure this is safe, and I just want to do it. So he's like, whatever. They get into like a big argument, but then he's like, whatever, do what you do. And so she's like, bet. And so she ends up going to this client, and guess who it ended up being? Hey, y'all.
Yeah.
Now, if y'all remember Tay in the first story, her and Tay was getting really close when her and Yugi were not vibing together, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So, end up that Tay ended up having way more feelings for her than he thought he did. Mm-hmm. And he still wanted her. And that's the only way he could, like, reach her.
So he told her that he had been calling her and she wasn't answering his calls, and so he felt like that was the only other way that he could get her to talk to him.
No, so anyway, so she ended up going to the building. Going to wherever Tay was at, and they talked it out. Tay figured out that she was very serious about Yugi. They were still together. And he told her all the feelings he still had for her and all this stuff. Tay ended up having a lot of money. First, he had money because his family had money, but he wasn't getting that money. He sold that screenplay. Now, if y'all remember the first story, her and Tay was working in like acting and all kind of stuff, and he ended up being a writer. So he wrote a story and ended up selling it and making a lot of money off of it. So he's very rich at this point. Mm-hmm. So she's going to this house. He's telling her about what he did. He thanks her because if it weren't for her, he wouldn't be even doing writing and stuff. So anyway, he tells her his feelings. She tells him she's still with Yugi. She ends up giving him a good old massage. And then they kind of part ways.
Well, okay. His girlfriend shows up at the.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. Yeah. Sorry.
His girlfriend shows up at the house or either during the massage or after the massage, and is like eyeing B and kind of saying these really slick remarks because she thinks she's there for quote unquote happy ending massage, and she's like, no, that's not what this is. So Tay's girlfriend is just kind of being a jerk to her the whole time. She says her little piece on it and she tries to be the bigger person, but she's kind of over it or whatever. And then she ends up leaving, and then that's kind of when they do their own thing. But B gets home and she never mentions this to Yoongi. She doesn't say who the client was. She just says that she had her appointment. So I'm trying to think I feel like I'm flash forwarding too far, but just let me know if I'm going too far.
It's okay, girl. They end up making up. Let's just say that.
Yeah, they make up. So the smut there is smut in this story, and it's good. But with the stuff that does end up going on, it kind of is like you just kind of skip over it. I don't know. I didn't really. Okay. Yoongi and B are out one day, and they end up running into Tae's sister. Is that too far? Okay, so then running into Tae's sister, and she's like, oh yeah, his birthday's coming up, blah blah blah, you guys should come. And so she's like not really wanting to go at all, and Yoongi's like, yeah, that would be cool, yeah, we would definitely like to come. So B's like, bro,
because at the end of her leaving, that he asked her to come to that party, but she had already made up her mind that she wasn't going.
Okay, so she runs into her sister, Tae's sister, and she's like, you should come. Yoongi's like, yeah, we'll definitely be there. So then they end up having like this, apparently her and Tae's sister were like really, really close, which I kind of remember that from the last story, but not really. So then she's like, let's go shopping. So they end up going shopping so they can have outfits for this party. It's a cocktail party, so she gets this cute like black dress, has her outfit ready, whatever. Yoongi's dress ready to go. So they get ready to go over there, and they pull up to his house, and B notices that everybody's not like dressed in suits and things like that, because that's not how they dress. So they're walking around, everything's cool, seeing everybody, everything's great. As they're walking around, Tay's like, I need to introduce you to somebody who I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without. This is Daisy. And Daisy turns around. She's wearing a wig. She's wearing, I think, glasses. So yeah, so it's Daisy. And so B's freaking out. Yoongi doesn't even recognize
I'm finna say, first of all, he didn't even recognize her. And second of all, I still don't understand why she is so like afraid of her.
So that's kind of why I felt like there was more that was gonna come of that, because they made it seem like she was like really, really, really crazy. But I don't know either, because they never really went into detail about it in the first story. They just said that she was nuts and really possessive. Girl, so B's freaking out. Yoongi's not even recognizing who she is, which says a lot, actually. But yeah, so she's like trying to keep her stuff together or whatever. And then there's this girl who came in from Japan and wants to go see the garage so that they can see all the cars or whatever. So he goes down. Oh, wait. Did I mess that up? I did. My bad. It was Tay's girlfriend, Tay, and the girl that go downstairs. I don't know if she had... Oh, yeah, I think she had met Daisy at that point. Anyway, they end up going downstairs to the garage to look at the cars or whatever. Yoongi decides to stay behind, and she, like, notices that he's talking to some girl, which... Just a quick side note, something that they said to each other a lot throughout this book was, I'm not jealous, I don't get jealous, I'm not jealous, a lot. Did you notice that? But then they always ask each other questions that were like kind of jealous.
They were jealous.
Yeah, okay, I thought that was just
And girl, didn't you just think that when she walked up there to see Yugi that he was going to be talking to that psych Daisy?
Yes, I did. I sure did. I was like, dang, this is what's going to happen. This is where it's going to get crazy. And it didn't. So Tay, yeah, so Tay and the girl go off. They go riding in the car. B decides to stay behind because she's like, I think I'd better stay. As she's walking back, Yoongi snatches her up and they go to the bathroom. And they do some things and some stuff and some things in the bathroom. And then they come out. She tries to tell Tay's sister, like, oh, yeah, we were just trying to make up a lie. And Tay's sister's like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's totally what you're doing. Right. I know you're lying, girl, but that's cool. Like, so everybody was looking for them both, I guess. And then Tay finally comes up and goes, where were you guys at? And so then the sister ends up making a lie for them to, as to why they weren't in the party still. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened at the party with Daisy. That's actually all you hear about. Daisy,
that was it.
Yeah, I mean, her and B do talk for a quick second, like a very brief second, where she's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, I thought blah, 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 blah. She's like, honestly, I'm not here after you. This is really just something that is coincidental. And then that was it. And you're like, wait, so...
Right.
I was kind of bummed about that because I was really hoping that... I remember I think that was Daisy I told you about. It was either Daisy or Eileen that I was telling you about. That I didn't have a good feeling about them. And I thought they might have done something to his dad. Remember? No?
His dad? His dad? Yuki's dad?
Or done something to him. Because remember they had... Either to Yoongi or to... I wasn't really sure, but I just felt like something had happened that they had done something to him.
Oh, you're talking about his best friend. I forgot I was about him, so you just said it, girl. I'm glad you mentioned it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
She got a lot to do with it.
She got a lot to do with it. So, okay, Yoongi has his best friend named Eileen. Eileen is been his best friend for like 6 years or something like that, which, I don't know, this was just me. They've been friends for 6 years. Yoongi had been in relationships in the past like 5 or 6 years, and they've all failed. So keep that in your pocket. So yeah, she meets B off rip, has does not like her. Like, is constantly in her face about some mess, constantly just like, nah, always with the shit, always. And so,
And then the crazy thing about it, though, is when he first introduced her as his friend to his girlfriend, she brought her girlfriend.
Yeah, she brought her girlfriend there, which was crazy because it's like, so why
He
was she
was
being so rude? I mean, you know why, but
and the girlfriend was rude too because she didn't care nothing about nothing.
she was worried about her phone because that's what she did the entire time that was
The
meeting.
entire time. And then we didn't mention that Daisy is a lesbian.
Oh yeah, and she does like modeling or something like on the side and some other stuff. But yeah.
So her and Yugi are best friends because, first of all, this is why I understand. What was Eileen in the first story?
I have no idea.
If they've been best friends for that amount of years.
I have no idea.
But anyway, so, oh shoot, what was I going to say? So Eileen and Yugi are best friends. They've been best friends for years. Something that's not mentioned in the first story that's in the second story is Yugi likes to do some drugs. And that he is like an adrenaline junkie, which is just totally not really Yugi at all. But in the story, it is.
Right.
So he likes to go rock climbing and all kind of stuff. And Eileen is like his partner with that. And so when she introduced him, he thought that they would like be cool because him and Dee been together for a minute. This is one of his longest relationships. And so instantly when they met, she automatically didn't like her.
Right.
Like automatic. And she already was getting bad vibes from her when she first met her. So then, what else happened?
So after that, she already has bad vibes about her. Eileen's being a jerk the whole time, like, and so the girl at some point is like, "Hey man, what's the deal with your homegirl? Because she's kind of a bitch, and I don't like the fact that all the time she's giving me like crap, and I'm just trying to chill. Like, she needs to understand that we're together and that we're gonna be together." So he tells her that, yeah, I've had the conversation with her, and she's like, okay, but she's still being mad disrespectful. What are we going to do about this? And she's like, well, I think that she is, like, that she has feelings for you. And he's like, no, she's a lesbian. She's like, nah. If anything, she's bisexual. So they go through that whole thing for a little bit, and then I'm trying to think.
Girl, you know what happened? We mixed up the time. Eileen should have been first.
Yeah, she should have been first.
And then the Tay party story.
Yeah.
Because then when they was coming back from the party, they started arguing because his phone kept going off, like constantly
yeah.
Off. And she was like, "Why you not picking up your phone?" And then he was like, "It's nobody." And she was like, "Well, why are you not answering if it's nobody?" Like, I'm confused. And he was like, "Oh, it's an ex." And we went together. We always used to mess around. Then I found out that she was married, and I broke up with her or whatever. And she went by her way, but then she became a stalker. And he basically just had to dip off from her. And she was like, B was mad because she was like, "Why you ain't been told me this? You should have been told me this whole time." Which I don't know what B was talking about because B didn't tell him forever about that being tight.
Right, because the only reason she even told him is because he asked her when was the last time she saw him. And she gonna say her last appointment.
Right. So she was keeping secrets too.
Which, it's funny because it never came up again that you know how she used to throw it all in his face all the time, but he never brought it back up to her.
But so he was like, just like let it go. It's over. Like they was arguing at this point in the car. And he was like, I'm gonna go up to the house No, I think they was arguing. She was like, "You need to stay in your own place." Like they was gonna spend the night with each other, and she was like, "You need to stay in your own place, and I'm gonna stay in mine." Blah blah blah. So he was like, "Look, I'm sorry. I should have told you." Blah 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 blah. Then they kissed and they made up, and then he was like, "I'm gonna run up to my apartment and get some stuff, and I'll be back real quick." So he left his phone in the car. I thought when this happened, I thought she was going to pick up that phone and see some stuff.
I did think that as well. I was with you on that one. I'm like, dang, is she really about to discover that he ain't been faithful this whole time?
Okay. So she ended up seeing that there was a voicemail on the phone. How she got into this phone and the voicemail, don't ask me.
Girl.
Okay? But she got into that voicemail, okay? So she got into his voicemail and she heard that the girl saying, "Oh my God, Richard, is it Richard?"
Richard, yep.
Ain't that crazy? Because remember the story.
The other one, yeah, Temptation. Yep.
Yes. Anyway.
Richard's out here messing it up for all the Richards in the world.
Right. So she called, she's leaving this voicemail on Yuki's phone, and she's like, "Oh my God, Yuki, Richard found out about us. And he knows where you live at, and all this stuff." And then she hear Richard like in the background taking a phone from her, and then and he said, "Oh, you dead if you think you gon'." What did he say? "You dead if you think you gonna mess with my wife. I know where you live. I'ma come find you."
Okay, so pause.
Okay.
Well, I guess I should wait until we get there because I have so many questions about how this all happened. And
girl, in a short amount of time, right?
Well, the short amount of time, but also how it physically happened, because at the end we find out what went down. So, who? I'll wait till the end. You see where I'm going with this? Okay. Go ahead.
So anyway, so soon as she hears that voicemail, she runs up to Yuki's apartment. She get buzzed in, and Yuki actually buzzed her, and he's like, "I'm coming out, babe." And she's like, "No, you need to let me in. Something crazy happened. I open the door." And then he worried about her, so now he letting her in. But by the time she gets there, all she see is that body breathing, but she doesn't even see him.
Right. The thing that I thought was interesting, though, is because he didn't ask her no questions. He wasn't like, "What's wrong?" He was just like, "Hurry up."
Yeah, because he was scared for her. He thought something was going on with her. That's what I thought. And so when she got into there, then she see Yugi on the side of the bed, y'all. Yugi was bleeding because the man had stabbed him in the back a couple of times. So she tried to stop the bleeding. She calls 911. They come 30,000 hours later. And then they leave, they take him off. She calls his mom and Eileen, which she didn't have to call her, but she did, out of respect, just because they so close. She calls them and tells them what's going on. Yugi automatically goes in and get rushed to surgery. So now she's just in the waiting room waiting. And now I'm thinking about a K-drama.
Girl,
you know
that one. There was this one that was like that in the hospital, and they was all waiting, and they had all the sad music playing, and everybody staring at each other. Like, I saw that whole scene. I forgot what show that was, but it was good.
Me too, but all I remember is that light on the top going on and off when
I remember Itaewon Class. Remember when he was in the hospital after he got beat up real bad in the Itaewon Class?
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. Yes, girl.
Okay.
So anyway, so basically, I rushed into surgery, had surgery. Now she's outside in the waiting room with Eileen with a stank attitude.
Right.
Like you would think they would be getting along right now because her man is in surgery, okay? But she still had an attitude. She still was looking at her cross-eyed. She still was talking junk to her the whole time, right? She calls his mom. The mom is cool. She's like, "I'm on my way right now," but they live in Busan.
No, Daegu.
Daegu, I'm sorry. They live in Daegu, so it's gonna take them a couple hours to get there. So, yeah. So you go ahead.
Okay, so the mom and the I think she's the niece, finally show up at the hospital, and they're all talking to Eileen because apparently they all are very close. And so homegirl's sitting. Yoongi eventually wakes up and all of that from surgery, and the mom is the niece and Eileen are all talking to Yoongi too, and so the girl feels kind of left out. So eventually the mom's like, "Hey girl, like come over here. Why are you sitting over there by yourself?" So she ends up joining them to have a conversation, and as she's talking to Yoongi, Eileen butts in and she's like, "Hey girl, wasn't talking to you in the first damn place, so go ahead and finish your conversation." And then she turns around and continues her conversation with Yoongi. So again, she's like, "Look, man, what's up with your homegirl? Because this is a time that's crazy, and now she's still kind of on me." Yoongi's still not really hearing her like that, but it's like, all right, we'll have a
Wait, did
conversation.
you say that he was? Did you say what happened to him?
Oh, I didn't. Okay, so what happened was, sorry guys, we'll just rewind. Yoongi, when he comes out of surgery and everything like that, the doctor comes out and tells them that he is going to be somewhat paralyzed. He doesn't have much feeling in his legs or hands and arms, but he can move his arms and hands a little bit better than he can his legs. So at this point, he's going to need more. He's going to need assistance because his spinal cord wasn't severed, but it was, I think, like damaged. I think that's what they were saying.
Yeah.
So he was going to need some assistance, going to need a wheelchair, but they never really said that he was not going to be able to move and walk again. So
Right.
he was
It was
kind of,
just a chance that he would, and a chance that he would.
yeah. So he was in a crappy place after that, constantly on pain medication because he was in a lot of pain from the surgery and also just kind of trying to cope with things. So then, they're all having those conversations and things like that. And Eileen is still kind of giving B the business, like mentally and visually. And so, eventually Yoongi's like starting to get better and everything like that. I'm just going to skip if that's cool or do.
Yeah.
Okay. So Yoongi starts getting better. He gets pretty good use of his arms. He gets pretty good, decent like use of his, well, no, he's still in the wheelchair when he gets released from the hospital. So he's able to, his mom and his niece did his house all new and stuff like that so that he can be able to move around better and be able to do stuff on his own a little bit better. And so Yoongi's really testy because of all the stuff's going on. So he's constantly snapping at B. And Eileen is thinking it's just the funniest thing. So B's got an attitude and she's going and talks to the mom and they're like, "Hey, don't take it to heart, blah, 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 blah." So she's like, "All right, bet, but this, you got a couple more times to try me because I'm trying to be here for him."
And the whole time, B automatically feels some type of way about Eileen.
Yeah.
And she knows, she keeps saying, something not right. I don't trust this girl, something not right. And her and Yugi's cousin that comes down with his mom.
I thought that was Yoongi's niece.
I thought it was his cousin.
Maybe it's his cousin. I don't know. Go ahead.
I don't know. Somebody comes down with his mama. That's related to him. But it might be his niece. Yeah, it might be his. I don't know. Anyway, it's somebody. And Eileen and her are pretty cool because they know each other. And so, but B ends up having a conversation with the cousin or niece, whoever it is, and was like, "You don't think something is weird about her?" And she's like, "No, she's lesbian." She was like, "I kind of think she's bisexual. Like, I don't think that she is lesbian. I think she like Yugi." And everybody kind of was like, "Huh? Really? You really think so?" And I was like, she's like, "Yeah, I got a strong feeling about this."
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So he gets out the hospital. They got his house set up in a way that it should be helpful for him, and they're kind of doing their thing. So one day, as Yoongi's starting to kind of feel better and things like that, his mom and his cousin or niece go back to Daegu, and they're kind of having a moment finally. Like, it's been a while since they've been able to do stuff.
Yeah.
So they end up having sex, and it's bomb. As they're kind of like chilling,
I don't know how bomb this could be, but it was supposed to be bomb.
yeah, I mean, apparently it was great because, yeah, from what they described it as, it sounded amazing. So, yeah, so they do that, and as they're kind of like chilling, they hear the door open and whatnot. So Eileen comes in. So B's automatically like, hold on, this was our time to be together. She knew that, and now she's bringing her behind in here. So she had a problem with that. So then,
Right.
they're kind of like, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, I just wanted to tell you what happened. So once they found out about all the stuff that happened to Yoongi, the stabbing and all and like that, B was going back and forth to the police department to try to give them information so that they can catch the husband. So they were interviewing. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh, okay.
I was just yawning. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're okay. They were interviewing the wife of the guy that supposedly stabbed Yoongi. So they have all this information about her or whatever. So then Eileen comes to the house and is like, well, I think the girl's name was Naomi. This is as much Naomi's fault as it is Richard, so I'm going to take care of it. So she comes to the house that day to let them know that she rewired homegirl's car.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, like, what?
And the whole time he was like, why did you do that?
Why would you do that? Like
that, yeah, she had something to do with it, but she didn't make him come and do what he did. And then she was like, well, you ain't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
So I had to handle it.
She was like, I had to do this myself since you're not going to do anything. But first of all, and something that they kept saying was like, okay, but if something happens to her, they're going to automatically look at him. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, he can't take care of himself really now.
Right, and then Yuki was like, then Yuki got mad. He was like, yeah, I was mad at her, but I don't want her dead.
Right.
Like, so she rigged it up where it would explode.
Right.
So he's like, you need to go back and undo that now.
Right.
And she was like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, now. And so then she left, and then she came back in, and she was like, can I talk to you?
Mm-hmm. And this is when it got real.
Girl. She was like, I just need to talk to you. And he was like, okay, or whatever. So then they went out into the hallway, and then they got to going back and forth. B was trying to listen, being nosy. I could see myself doing that.
But,
trying to hear what was going on.
Right.
But she couldn't hear nothing. All she could hear at this point is they started screaming.
Mm-hmm.
So come to find out, Yuki comes back in and tells her that she was right the whole time because she had already told Yuki that she thought that Eileen liked him. Mm-hmm. And Yuki was like, she a lesbian. She definitely don't like me. No, we not like that. And she was like, I'm telling you, something is weird. That girl like you. And when he came back in the house talking to her, he was like, you were right. And I can't believe I was so blind to not see it. Mm-hmm. She is in love with me. Blah, 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 blah. She was like, oh, I guess before he had already told, when she was first questioning Yugi about Eileen, she was like, why is she like that? Did y'all sleep together? He was like, he didn't want to say it, but then he was like, yeah, we slept together one time. She just wanted to try it because she'd never been with a man before. But then she kept trying to say little stuff like, oh, we should try it again. Oh, we should do it again because I didn't feel nothing the first time. Mm-hmm. And then, like, after they had got into it and he was telling her about what she was saying, he was like, I should have knew then when she kept saying, oh, we should try it again, that it was something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Girl.
So, yeah. So as time just kind of goes by, she kind of not like, she ain't been talking to Yugi or her. She been kind of silent with them. So they've been good. They've been living their life. They've been getting better. Yugi been like progressing, starting to walk a little more now, but he has crutches at this point. So he is getting his ability to walk and all this kind of stuff. He's been moving his arms and everything good. And they go to her mom's and dad's vacation spot while they were in town.
Wait. Wait. You forgot a big part before they meet the parents. So, before they meet the parents, her and freaking Eileen get into a fight. She shows up at
yeah.
she shows up at the place, and she starts to fight this girl, and I mean, like, throw her down the stairs. Like, talking about, it'd be a shame for you to fall down the stairs, trying to make her fall down the stairs and choking her out, and it was crazy. They was really duking it out in this stairwell, and Yoongi's mom and cousin, whoever, stopped it, and they finally were able to get her off of her. But she was kicking her. She had bruises and stuff on her sides and scratch marks.
And then that's when Yuki was real mad. He was like, "You are crazy. Why would you attack her? Why would you do this?" And she was like, "Are you serious? She attacked me, but she didn't really attack her. She was really just trying to walk past her, and she pulled her by her hair down the darn stairs." But she was like, "She attacked me." And then he was like, "No, she did. I know you did it. You're the only person that keep doing this and that and this and that." And then now Eileen is mad at her and him. And that's when she did something, and they don't hear for a while. Sorry, y'all.
Okay, go ahead.
So they don't hear from her for a long time. They are actually doing really good. They're getting really close, having a lot of good sex and everything. So they trying to think about sex like a lot. Like, they have sex like rabbits, like, for real. And so
I'm surprised she wasn't pregnant by the end of the story.
I was waiting on it, girl.
Me
I just
too.
knew it was going to happen. But anyway, I'm kind of glad it didn't happen, because sometimes I like a story to end without them being pregnant. And a lot of stories, they end up being pregnant.
Especially this story. I think it would have been weird if she was pregnant.
Why would it have been weird?
Because of the kind of how the story is. Like, a lot of the other stories, when they're pregnant, the person, like, they love each other a lot, and they're, like, about to get married, and that's, like, the next step of them starting their family type of thing. Especially if it's near the end. The ones that start out...
No, not the other book that I was reading. Boy, hey, honey. Nuh-uh.
Well, that one is different.
But anyway, back to the story. So they end up going to her parents' house, because her family is in Korea for, like, they have a house there. They actually live in London. So they came down for the vacation house. They, like, spent some time with Yugi, figured out who he was, because they never met him. They ended up really loving him, and, like, it was just like a good time with their parents and everything. And so they ate and everything, got their little pound cake to go. I was like, pound cake, really? Like, I feel like that's like a southern thing, but maybe I'm wrong. So anyway, they end up getting pound cake to go, whatever. They get ready to leave, because they've been talking about sex, like they ready to go home and get it on, okay? And they go outside, and the windows is busted out the car. And they instantly know that it's Eileen that did it, because who else would have known? So, which means Eileen followed them to her mom's house. Now, I would have been scared.
Yeah.
Because if you follow me to my parents' house, what you going to do to my parents' house?
Right.
But none of that ended up happening. They called the police or whatever, reported it or whatever. And they were just going to like get the parents to, like, take them home, and they would come back and get the car towed in the morning. But the mom ended up telling them that she didn't feel comfortable with them going home, that they need to stay for the night. So they got to stay home, stay there at night, and she really wanted to have sex. Like, really wanted to have sex. But he didn't want it to, because he was really good with her dad. But her mama had gave her the okay.
Right, and she was like, well, we got the okay, so, it's fine. And he's like, it's going to be a hard no for me.
Yeah. And she was like, I can't believe you are denying me. I can't believe it.
Right.
But he really respected his dad. Like, he was really cool. Like, I thought he was about to ask her to marry him by the end of the book, but okay.
I kind of did too, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. So they end up just, like, going home the next day, and then what else happened?
Okay. So they end up going home the next day, and then they It gets so crazy. Okay, so they go home the next day, and then they're kind of just going through their day to day as things are going on. They still have the case going from the person who stabbed Yoongi. So the detective ends up reaching out to them saying, hey, we just want to let you know what's going on with the case. So they're thinking that he's going to still be in custody and all this other stuff, to find out that they have released him and that he was actually a person of mistaken identity. So now they're like, what you mean he's a person of mistaken identity? Like, this is clearly... So this is what my question was. Well, okay. So, yeah, they're like, this is clearly this man. Like, what do you mean? So they come to find out that the person who did the stabbing was actually Eileen. Eileen had done this. And the reason she had done it the whole time, and the whole reason she did it is because she was in love with Yoongi, and she felt that Yoongi was trying to play her the whole time, that she had been in love with him all this time, and that he just kept playing her to the left and dating what she said were people not good enough for him, and that she was good enough for him. So, my question to you is, whose voice did she have on the voice messages? Because they said she wore a fat suit to look like the man, and they said that she had a mask on so her face would be hidden. But who were the people that called the phone?
Yeah, see, I don't know if that really happened and he just didn't ever come, or Eileen faked the whole thing.
Like, I feel like she would have had to fake the whole thing, because that's very elaborate plan to have them, like, or coincidence to have them just happen to call.
Yuki never heard that message, did he?
No, he never heard it. And
and she wouldn't know what that girl sound like.
Yeah, but you could tell sometimes a man's voice from a woman's voice, because when...
No, not necessarily. She was a lesbian. She might have been taking testosterone or whatever it's called.
Well, okay, but remember...
You don't know how deep her voice was, though. That we don't know how deep Eileen's voice is.
Right, but this is why I was confused, because in the one message, the girl's talking on the phone, and then the guy's talking at the same time as her, I thought, in the message. Because when she picks up the phone, she hears the phone, and the person's like, the guy's talking in the background, and then the phone line goes blank, remember?
But she could have got anybody to...
That's what I'm saying. Like, who did that? Like, what? I was so confused. Like, how was that even taking place? Because so you mean to tell me...
It could have been her and that girl. It could have been her and that girlfriend. Who knows?
Wow. They're both nuts. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, she had these people... I've been thinking about that ever since it happened. I'm like, well, who were the... Anyway. So, yeah. So, they find out that this...
Or that could have been really... It could have been really Richard and Naomi, and nothing ever came of it, though.
What are the odds that happened?
Yeah,
like, what are the odds? That would be wild. If that was the case, man, Eileen got real lucky with that coincidence, because...
I don't think that's what happened because Eileen showed up at that point. But here's my thing. Even if Eileen did make that whole thing up, how she get back to that apartment that fast?
Right. So, anyway, they find out. So when the detective is asking them about him and kind of telling them about Eileen, he's like, have you noticed any things like some anger issues, her kind of thing that were like abnormal? And they're like, well, she can get really jealous and things like that. So the detective's like, all right, well, I just want to let you know, like, Eileen is probably one of the most diabolical people I've ever met. Like, this girl is nuts. Like, so then they're like, well, hopefully she's going to serve, like, a long time, because she could have killed him. And they're like, well, because of the crime, like, she's not going to be able to do as much time as you would think. I think it was like 6 months?
Yeah, 6 years.
6 years, yeah. And then I guess after that, they was going to be trying to get her to go to the mental institution. Because clearly something was wrong. So they're like, all right, well, I guess we can do that. But they're like, just live your life in the meantime. They're like, okay, we'll try to do the best we can. And then that's kind of it. As far as that whole thing with Eileen, like, you don't really hear too much else about it. Like, that's well, that's really it. So then, this is near the end of the story. Yoongi gives B a bracelet, like a charm for her bracelet. It's like a little bear with the arrow. It's super cute, but it's like a family heirloom that he gives her. And then he also asked her to move in with him.
Right. And then she didn't even want to move in with him.
She didn't even want to move in with him, which was like, okay, okay.
I guess she wanted her own space, but I feel like they were together all the time anyway.
That's what I was confused about. So I was like, they're never at their own home. Like, they're always with each other. So what would be the difference?
Right.
I mean, I guess having the ability to be in your own space, I get it, but yeah.
But then when she, like, even after he was like, I get it, you want your own space, blah, 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 he got up to, like, go make breakfast or something like that, or coffee or something that he was going to make. And she like, looked at the side and seen that he had a whole new side table over there with, like, some stuff for her.
Yeah.
And then she got up to, like, look for a shirt to put on, and then she noticed that in his closet he had cleared a whole side for her already. And then she started being like, oh, he did this for me, blah, 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 blah. And maybe I should really think about it. So then they came to the consensus that they were just going to do it like a month trial and then do it. But I think they ended up just kind of doing it going back and forth like between both of their apartments. Like they would spend a couple weeks at her apartment and a couple weeks at his apartment. And I think they ended up liking that a lot better.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of...
And that was that was pretty much the end of that story. They were in love.
Yeah. So, how did you feel about it? Part 2.
Okay. Honestly speaking, I expected a little bit more out of other things like the ex-girlfriend in the first book that Yugi had. I expected her to be in there, but she was not. I expected it to be way more with Daisy. I just knew that when we was getting into this book, that we was going to figure out a whole bunch about Daisy. Also, in there, her background with Daisy and why was she so crazy? Like, why was she so manipulative, and what all did she do to her?
Right.
Like, I expected to find out about that. They didn't even talk about the rape anymore that happened in the first story. I thought that she maybe have some therapy or something. So I thought it was going to be a little more. The story was not bad. I just thought it was going to be more. It kind of felt like it was its own book.
Yeah, it did. It felt very disjointed in a way. Other than the fact that you had being in Yoongi and like Tae, but like other than that, it did feel kind of like it didn't match, because like you were saying, the ex-girlfriend, I definitely thought that was going to be a bigger thing because of how it had taken place in the first book with the whole all that violence.
I was still looking for Daisy, like literally the whole book. I was like waiting on Daisy, because when this whole stabbing happened, I was like, it had to do with Daisy.
So with what I thought, I didn't know what the stabbing was going to be with Daisy, but I was kind of expecting Eileen to be doing something wild, but I didn't know where she came from. I don't remember her in the first book. And I was really hoping that the ex-girlfriend was going to be in the second book, and she wasn't. And then I was hoping that Daisy, like you said, had a bigger part in to find, like, we could find out what her thing was, because... And then I guess my thing, too, was because she had started already putting her seed in when she was meeting up with Yoongi in the bars. So I really thought there was going to be more with that.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, it was good. I'm not going to say it was a bad book. It was a good book still. It was entertaining, but for it to be a part 2, I thought it was going to be more like part 1.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I liked the book. I just thought it was going to be a little bit different. Like, I felt like this book was kind of, it had a lot of sex in it, but I felt like it was just them, like, learning each other the whole time. And in a lot of detail about them learning each other. And then stuff that probably should have had more detail was just kind of glazed over.
Right.
So.
Right. Like, even if it had more of, like, Tay in the story, like, that would even be good.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that, too. I thought there was going to be more coming from that, and it wasn't. I thought the ex-girlfriend, I mean, not the ex-girlfriend, but I thought Tay's girlfriend, there was going to be something with that, and it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. Right, because Tay's girlfriend had that funky attitude.
Okay. I just knew it was about to be something like her and Daisy had just talked about some stuff, and they had plotted against this girl, but no.
No.
All right, so as usual, you guys can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Our hasn't been posted to in a while, but it will be once my computer stops acting like a jerk. And yeah, if you guys have any emails if you have any suggestions, you can always email them to us at doyoureadbts@yahoo.com. We are back on the list again for, I know it's been a while. The story that we are currently reading is a Jimin story. It's called, what's it called? What's it called? I don't remember what it's called. My Man? No, that's a JK story. Just kidding.
I thought it was called I Love You.
Oh, yeah, it is called I Love You. You're right. So we're reading that story currently, and we'll be reviewing that one. So you guys can still send us those suggestions. We'd love to hear them. They'll just be added to the list, and it may take some time. But yeah, thanks again for joining us. See you guys next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.